Is there really no standing fleet up right now?
Oh, is there not? I'll start one.
I was about to do it.
Okay, fleet's up.
Thank you.
Okay, should be able to get started here. So this class focuses on getting more than the basic functionality out of your directional scanner. It goes a long way in teaching situational awareness as well as the skills that you need to either go hunt for targets or to understand what others who are hunting you are capable of. Um, Obviously, at any point, if I say something doesn't make sense, or if you have questions, if something comes up and you're like, oh wait, that makes me think I need to ask this, ask it. Um, Interrupt me. That's all totally fine. All right. First things first, everyone should have their DScan window open all the time. And part of the reason that we start by undocking in this fleet is because you can't actually do anything. You can't even get the DScan window on your UI unless you're undocked. Um, if you've never accessed this before or you don't have it uh, out and about, I'm going to share my screen real quick. This is not only for you guys, but for anyone who might be watching this recording. Alrighty. And if you don't already have it open, when you first go to find it, it'll look something like this. Um, Down here near your health, there's this little scanners icon. You'll click on this and you'll go to the DScan option or directional scanner. Alt D is the default shortcut. When you first open it, it'll be docked in your system map like this. In fact, it'll probably be full screen like this. It's pretty useless here. Uh, what we need to do is detach it. So I'm going to make this not full screen again. And we're going to go to the directional scanner section here, and we're going to pop this out. And that little box within a box there pops it out. And then you can close the system map for now. Um, you need to find a place for this where it can live on your UI at all times. It should never not be open when you're undocked in space. It should always be open. Mine goes under my overview over here. Some people will put it in some other place. Uh, it doesn't matter where as long as it's open. Next thing you'll need, well, actually, is anyone struggling with that? Any need to pause there? Hopefully not. That should be pretty straightforward. Okay. Uh, Next thing you'll need is to select the filter you want for it. So if you have this set to all, can I even find all? All right, well, I might not be able to find all. Basically, you should have a decent overview. That's a good start. If you don't have one, ZTech S Overview channel in-game, it's also linked in the Flying Dangerous MOTD, is a great place to start. Get a good overview. Once you have a good overview, you should set your DScan filter to your active overview. which is the first one on the list. Then when you scan, you will only see things that you care about, and you know you only care about them because they're the things that show up on your overview. When you scan something that's kind of hidden from you, right? It says range down here, 14.3 AU. It also says angle 360, but there's not like a good visual of what that's actually showing you. Just for the visual understanding part of it, the system map actually does come in useful here. In order to quickly open the system map, there's a button right here that's these little planets orbiting something, or moons orbiting, whatever you want to think of it as. That will open the system map. That green sphere is the representation of your DScan. When it's at 360 14.3, you are scanning that sphere. The default button for scanning is V. I've rebound mine, but the default is V. Whenever you hit that button, you will be scanning that sphere. And what this is telling you is that of the things on your active overview, uh, these are the ones that are within that 14.3 AU bubble. You'll notice that like this beacon isn't showing up. That's because the DScan can't show that. You don't want it to anyway. And any ship in this bubble will show up on my DScan, except for cloaked ships and combat recons, which I'm actually in right now. So if you guys hit your DScans, you will not see my ship show up on your DScan. Okay, so that's the super basics. Most of the rest of the class that we're going to be talking about is going to be more than this. So let's see. All right. One thing I find useful is to have the tracking camera turned on, uh, and I'll explain why in a second. Shift C is the default to turn that on, so that if you click on something, your camera will swing to it. I'll close the system map to show that. As I click on things, you'll see my camera swing around. The point of this is if I set my DScan angle down to 5 degrees, and then click on things and scan, I can scan in the direction that my camera is facing. Basically, no matter what I do, I will always scan in the direction my camera is facing. So if I just kind of point in this random direction down here, and I scan, I'm scanning in that random direction in space. And again, to visualize this, 5 degrees kind of doesn't really compute, in my head at least. But if you open up the system map, you can see there's this cone going off into space, and that's what you're scanning. That's what 5 degree looks like. That's what 30 degree looks like. 90 degrees, very large cone, right? So when people are scouting or giving intel, they will often give intel in terms of their scan cone angle. So they'll narrow down someone to 5 degrees at the sun, and they'll say he's 5 degrees at the sun. And that's one way to think about giving intel. So just to show this here, if I turn my camera and point at count, and I angle to 5 degrees, I'll get his Proteus on my scan result because the 5 degree scan cone is only pointing right up there. Any questions on scan angle, how that works, what it means, what we're doing? Okay. Part of something that I want you guys to be aware of is when you're in a fleet situation and maybe the FC is busy doing other things or thinking about other things. If you're constantly just kind of tapping your DScan and watching, especially if there are other neutrals in local. If there's no neutrals in local, there's no need to. Um, but if there are other neutrals, if there are other fleets in local, and you're in a fleet situation and you're tapping your DScan, um, you will be very useful to an FC who might be focused on other things, and you can say, you know, Proteus fleet on scan or Typhoons on scan, something like that. Just a little side note there. Okay, I think we just need to cover really quickly the difference between on and off grid, and then we can go do the next part of this. So everything on my DScan results right now is on grid with me. And I know that because everything has a distance on it. Um, if I go somewhere that is off grid from this spot, if everyone can stay here for a moment. As soon as I warp away, basically, the keep star keeps its distance. That's because that's a celestial contact that I could warp to from anywhere in the system. But all of your ships now have a little dash next to them. I can't tell what the distance is uh, from those ships. That's because I'm off grid from you. So on grid, off grid, it can be a little tricky to kind of get the hang of it, but then after a while it will become kind of second nature understanding the concept there and what that means. Questions at this point? Okay, let's get into the actual practice part of this. Give me just a moment. I'm going to do some setup, and then we're all going to go and try and track down some of my alts. And while I do that setup, comms are open.
Didn't realize how similar your UI to mine was.
That's good.
Hello, Kix.
You hear me?
Yes, we can.
Can now?
Sorry, I'm late. I was taking kids to lacrosse.
You are good. No worries. We're about to do the practice part of this.
I don't suppose you recorded this thing.
Of course.
Perfect.
Although I'm thinking about not doing it next time because I'm thinking it's making people nervous and not want to speak up.
Oh, that's definitely not a problem I have.
I know. Alrighty. If you guys can either, if you need to change ships into something that's a little quicker, maybe a frigate. If you're comfortable in the ship that you're in, that's fine. Let's all pile into one AC and let's start doing some practice here. So there are 3 ships scattered throughout the system in one AC, named 1, 2, and 3. And I would like you guys to go about finding those ships in that order, please. And as we do that, um, don't give it away. Don't say where they are, right? But if you run into any issues finding one of them, then let's talk about it. You should not have uh, combat scan probes right now. You do not need combat scan probes. We are doing D-scan only. So if you have combat probes, do not deploy them. D-scan only. You're good, Remington. Do not apologize. All right, and when you find one, warp to where you think it is and confirm that it's actually there. Don't just use your D-scan and point at it. Actually go warp to where you think it is. And just let me know. I found one, I found two, etc.
Hola, Uno.
What was that?
Uno's found.
Yes.
Yeah. How you know?
A couple of you have found Uno. You guys can go move on and try and find two. If you're having trouble finding one, speak up. Let's talk about it. No rush, Remington. We'll be here. Aside from Remington, is there anyone else who is actively looking and has not found one yet?
Ew.
Who is that? Oh, is that a no? Did you say no?
No, I see Chris.
Oh, you found Dos. Got it. Looks like Skog has also found Dos.
I went out of order.
Oh, that's okay. Did you actually find number 3?
You're not nice for doing this one.
It's necessary. Alright, so if you think you found number 3, but you can't warp to them, let me know.
Oh no, I'm gonna combat it down once I've got it on a 5 degree.
No. So it's important to. So Teddy, why are you gonna need to use combats?
It's not a celestial.
Where do you think that number 3 is?
Saved up.
Correct. So it's very important to be able to determine using your D-scan when someone is at a safe spot. You will not always have combat probes. In fact, the majority of the time when we're doing fleet stuff, we don't tend to run with combat probes, especially in like roams and stuff. So being able to tell that someone's at a safe without that crutch is very important. So you don't actually need to warp to number 3, but you guys should be able to identify that number 3 is at a safe. If you're having trouble figuring that out, or figuring out how you would learn, or how you would make that determination, let me know. And for anyone just joining us, we're in 1AC. We're doing some practice. There are 3 ships in 1AC named 1, 2, and 3. And you are invited to come and attempt to find them using your D-scan.
I got a 5 degree. I feel accomplished.
Okay, perfect. That's good. You don't need to see the stream though to come find them. In fact, if you're watching the stream in order to help find them, you will find it very unhelpful right now. I'm streaming just in case I need to demonstrate something. Teddy, you're back.
I went out of order. Now I'm back.
Oh, I see. Yes, you did say that.
I have a method to getting the 5 degree scan though.
Tell us about it.
I've got you on a 5 as well.
So what I do, especially when I'm hunting explorers, if somebody's saved up, I kind of scan in a box formation. So I'll slowly lower from 180, 90, 60, 30. And as I get lower and lower, I'll start to scan in a square and then just lower that square smaller and smaller as I drop the radius until I've got them.
And you're talking about where you point your camera, right?
Correct. And you can hold V if you've got like the system map up. So you can rotate the directional scanner from the map while you're doing that. And that's how I do it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. I usually do it just in space without opening the system map, but that it certainly works, especially if you're going to use combat probes. Having the system map open is ideal. So Remington, you say you're lost. Are you in? You are. Perfect. You're in 1AC. And are you on the Athenor near the F9 gate? That would be a good place to start. The one that's called All That Glitters. Okay. Not sure why you'd warp at 100, but sure. Do you have your D-scan open would be the next question. Oh, that's fine. It's your ship. Do you have your D-scan open? Okay, great. And if you scan at max range and max angle right now, you should see the first one that you're looking for named 1 on scan. You see that? Great. All right. So your first job is to try to narrow down where that ship is. There's a lot of ways you can do this. One of them is just to pick a direction. If you're watching the stream, I'll do this. You can just pick a random direction and change the angle to 180. And if they're still on scan, that means that somewhere in that 180 degree dome in that direction is your target, the ship that you're looking for. You could then, without moving, change to 90 degree, for example. And if they're still there, then now they're in the 90 degree cone in that direction. And you can keep repeating this until they fall off the scan. So in the direction that I picked, I lose them at 30 degrees. So I know, okay, well, they're in this 60 degree cone, but not in a 30 degree cone. If you're having trouble visualizing what that cone looks like, you can click on this little system icon, and that'll bring up your DScan window, or rather the system map, I should say. And if you look at the 60 degree cone, that's what it covers, and there's basically 2 clusters on it, or rather 1 cluster and the ESS. And you'll notice if you go to 30 at that point, there's only the ESS that kind of comes off of that list, so there's a pretty good chance that your target's over there. Drop it down to 5 degrees, scan, and there it is. Did that make sense? Did that process make sense to you? You can't warp to this result. That's not possible. But you can warp to the ESS, which I encourage you to do to see the ship and confirm that you have actually found where it is. Thorn, did you have a question? Or anyone else? You've turned off your cone. That is not possible. I think you mean something else.
Mine's not showing up today either, so that is kind of annoying.
Okay, let's find that then. How do you warp to it? Well, Thorn, what are you scanning towards? Because you won't be able to warp to ships on your DScan results. You have to warp to the thing that you have found them at.
If your cone is missing, it's a button on your DScan overview.
Yep,
Yeah,
there it
found
is. It's right next to the slow
That's that.
system map button.
I don't know how it get unchecked, but okay. Cheerio.
There's probably a hotkey that you just don't know what hotkey it is, and you accidentally pressed it.
That sounds legitimate.
I do not see a cone hotkey.
It probably is called something like dscan or something dumb.
It's named cone in the hover over on the DScan window, so I don't think it would be named something else. Let's see.
I will counter your logic with pause code.
I would leave. even if you're even if you're probe scanning Remington, I would leave that on. Thorn, it looks like there's nothing there. Do you have the encounter surveillance system on your overview? And just to double check, have you found one, or are you looking at a different target? Oh, great. Okay, so if you have found three, perfect, great. You found one and two, well done. If you found three and can't warp to it, good job. And if you don't see any celestials in that direction, what might you infer about the location of ship number three? Correct. And it's very important to be able to identify when a ship is at a safe spot, even if you don't have combat probes. So being able to use your D-scan like you did to locate a ship and then know, oh, it's at a safe spot without having to spend 3 years figuring that out is very important. So correct, and that is essentially you finding number three. So well done. It's at a safe, and without combat probes, you cannot warp to it. Success. Okay. Um, let's see. Any other issues finding our targets here? Anyone else still actively looking and has not found all three? Okay, you're looking for two. Got it. I'll just kind of talk about what I would do to go about finding number two. Um, if you open your solar system map, you can see that there's like 3 or 4 clusters of celestials in the system. If the one that you're near right now doesn't have two on your D scan when you do 360 degrees at max range, then you would go to one of the other clusters that's off scan and check there until you find the cluster that it's near, and then you'd start narrowing it down from there. Part of the trick, I'm surprised no one has brought this up yet. Part of the trick with finding number two is you kind of need to have moon brackets on. And if you guys don't know, the shortcut to turn on special brackets or moon brackets is Alt-Shift-X. So if you're looking at the stream and you've never seen this icon before, or you don't have it up right now, it's because you don't have moon brackets on. It's very important to have that on. I wish CCP didn't consider these special and just let us keep them on all the time. But Alt-Shift-X toggles those on and off.
That's nice. I've always just kind of used the system map to see where the clusters are.
Yeah, moon brackets are a bit of a hidden secret for no good reason. Okay, so while Remington looks for number two, is there anything that you guys think that that this class should cover? Anything that you think was missed um, that you'd like to bring up?
I think the only
That's pretty
thing that
good.
I'd add is using the probe scanner window to also descan like combat and ore sites.
Oh, yes, of course. It's on my outline. I just like skipped right over it. Thank you, Teddy. Yes. So it's very important to not only do this using your probe scanner, but also to know that others can do it to you. Let's test this out.
I can just warp to a random anomaly.
Um, I'm suspecting that there's gonna be like rats and stuff. But if you have a ship that won't just insta-pop, then yes. If you
Well, I'm
can
not
warp to
going
the
to going to a drone squad. I'll go to an
Okay.
ore anomaly that's close to the Ath.
Okay, great.
Oh my god, there's so many rats here.
Yeah, I kind of figured. That's why I was a little hesitant about that.
That's the worst I've seen out here.
Yeah. All right. So without having a ship actually go there, uh, basically, there's a couple of ways to do this. In fact, 1AC is probably not the right place to do this. I'm going to go switch to a different ship, and we're going to do this part in F9. I'll leave my alts sitting at their spots in 1AC for people to that haven't found all of them to keep working on that and keep practicing. But for this next part, we'll go to F9. And if someone has a ratting Ishtar and wants to go rat in F9 right now, or a ratting Vexor and wants to go rat in F9 right now, that would be fantastic practice.
Okay.
Yes, you should be able to see the ESS in the solar system window. You may need to check that all of the brackets are turned on in your solar system uh, window, but yes, it should be visible there. The beacon should be visible. All right, do I have anyone that is going to go rat in F9?
Yeah, I'm logging on a character.
Okay, excellent. Thank you for being our guinea pig. And take your time, no rush. Just let me know when you are ready, and I will play Hunter. And I'll talk through my process of what I'm doing. For those of you who are not currently watching the stream, it will probably be very useful for you to watch it for this next part. If more people want to go out and rat in F9 or Roops or wherever, and just let me know. And that way we can have a couple of different practice targets. That'd be great, but not required. And Thorn, by the way, if you're watching the stream, I have my solar system window open. And there's the ESS. It does appear. If you're ever like not sure how to find something and it's on your overview, you can just hover over it and it'll show you where it is.
The Ishtar is nested in its natural environment.
Perfect. All right, so I'm hunting. I see that there's rat kills in F9. I'm in my little interceptor here. I go to F9 and I'm looking to catch Mr. Ishtar. I'll jump into the system and we'll see how the D-scan plays a role in me finding target. First things first is as I jump into the system, my D-scan will automatically pulse without me having to do anything. You'll see it pulsed and showed me everything in range here. There is no ratting ship in range. I do not see an Ishtar or a Vexor or whatever else would be ratting here. So my first step, personally, if I'm scouting, is I'm going to look at my probe scanner and I'm going to look at the popular anomaly types and pick one that is off scan from me and just warp to it and hope. Off scan, meaning outside of the 14.3 AU range, that is the max scan range. I'm not going to do that here because I don't want to like deal with having to rush this. I want to take my time and explain it. So instead of warping directly to one of these anomalies, I'm going to warp to a gate that's near them so I can have a little more time to talk through it and explain. It looks like the only ones that are off scan are over in the XBRO gate area, so that's where I'm going to go.
How did you know that?
I'm looking at the distance on the probe scanner, and I quickly scrolled through it and saw that everything was within 14.3 except 14.3 AU except for 3 of them. Those 3 all were about 16, 17 AU away. I look at my overview and I see that there are a couple of gates about 16 or 17 AU away. Clusters of celestials in Eve, pretty much all they group together. So I have like a 99% chance that if I go to those gates that are 16 or 17 AU away, I'm also going to be heading towards the 3 anomalies that are about 16 or 17 AU away. And you can see that's exactly what happened. And if I open my probes, or if I open my system map, you'll see how this actually plays out. In fact, I'll do that right now. See how everything's clustered? There's a bunch of stuff near the sun. There's a couple of things over here, and there's a couple of things over here. I started when I jumped in over here near the BNX gate. The only things that I care about when I'm looking for a ratter are going to be anomalies. I could have opened my system map to see where they were, or I could just use that intuition that I just mentioned, which is things in Eve cluster together, the celestials and anomalies cluster together. So I'm just going to head in that direction and scan from here. So I've arrived, I'm going to hit my D-scan. In fact, I'm probably pumping my D-scan the entire time that I'm moving around, and I see an Ishtar. Perfect, that's exactly what I'm looking for. Instead of clicking 180 and then 90 and then 60 and then 30 and trying to narrow it down, and instead of moving my camera around in space, right, and pointing at these different anomalies, instead I'm going to drop my angle immediately down to 5 degrees. And then I'm going to hold my D-scan hotkey and start clicking on these entries in my probe scanner, the 3 that are close. In fact, I'm going to sort by distance real quick. These 3 that are close to me. And I'm just going to click through them. So I'm going to hold my D-scan key and I'm going to click them. I'm going to give a second between each click because the D-scanner needs a moment to recalibrate after each scan. But you'll see how fast I'm going to find this Ishtar. And there it is at MWL. And then all I do is warp to it and point it and tell my fleet to come in and kill it. If you find yourself in situations where you're getting tackled and you're getting surprised by how fast people are arriving at wherever you happen to be, this is how people do it so fast. I'm going to warp off back to XP because I don't actually want to tackle SK. Thank you for the demo there, SK. I appreciate it.
Cheerio.
But this is how people are able to do it so fast. You should assume, until you know otherwise, that any neutral that comes into system is A, in a ship that wants to tackle you, B, is just as fast, if not faster than me, can find you in less than 30 seconds, will warp to you, point you, and bring a fleet in to kill you. And they will do more or less what I just did, which is jump in system, see there's nothing on scan, warp to an off scan anomaly. If they don't find you there, they're probably already running through the list with their angle at 5 degrees. They'll find you and they'll warp to you very fast. And you should all be trying to get that quick and comfortable with your D-scan. Good, Remington, you found number 2. Well done. Number 3 will be tricky. Questions on that demo that we just did? Anything that you think I didn't show properly, or any questions on it? Okay, questions about D-scan in general? Alrighty, we'll work on the audience participation parts of this going forward. That's going to wrap the class. I will edit this down and post it for you guys to rewatch if you need to, and for those who didn't make it to watch. We can all hop back to Mumble. I need to make some money, so I'm going to do some ratting. If anyone wants to also participate in ratting and do some cooperative covering of each other and maybe build the bank up and shoot some people who come to take it, that'll be fun.
You want me to put a dictator on BNX?
Totally your call. Thanks for coming, guys. And we can hop back over to Mumble.